So, the double tetrahedron was formed by consciousness. Before form, you've heard of the flower of life, and the seed to the flower of life is the tetrahedron, three-sided triangle. The three-sided triangle represents the consciousness of the higher self, the self, and the soul, the 3 points. And when the consciousness of the higher self, self, and soul connect, if you were to imagine the personification of a higher self, yourself, and your soul, connecting, leaning towards each other where the head of each consciousness connects, it creates a pyramid. So the higher self, and soul create, and if you imagine the three connecting and the feet connecting, right? As we lean together, there's all three at one point, and all 3 points below connected create a pyramid, a three-sided pyramid. The tetrahedron was first just the connection of, if you imagine 2 points of consciousness coming together and connecting, and then joining at each end. That is the space where information is held, holding information. And the higher self, and soul of the points of the consciousness of all those coming to one apex creates the tetrahedron. And then as above, so below, the reflection of that would be a double tetrahedron with the three-sided pyramid on top pointing up and the three-sided pyramid on the bottom pointing down. So it would be the yin, the yang, the positive, the negative, the as above, so below, all of that. So the three-sided pyramid, and this is a double tetrahedron, three-sided pyramid from the Lemurian jade. As you spin this, you imagine yourself within and part of that double tetrahedron. You go into meditation, you connect, and this is just a quick synopsis because it's more involved. We just want to sort of explain the initial process. But in the meditation, you connect, you first establish a relationship with your higher self. It's very important. Knowing that you've established that relationship, knowing that you've met your higher self has met you, and you've experienced that, because it's an essential part of our growth to be aligned and conscious of our higher self. And knowing that when you've connected with your higher self, and knowing when your higher self's introduced you to your soul. And the soul is the collective of all of us connected as a home. It's like being at home. It's like being at home with yourself, your higher self, and your soul are at home. When you have that feeling and that you sense that, you visualize it in your meditation. You can see the tetrahedron on a hill, on a mound. It's made of light. Your consciousness of yourself, your higher self and soul, now is no longer personified. Now they're beams of light coming down as a double tetrahedron. As above, so below, and the double tetrahedron's hovering just slightly above the mound. You then, as individual, you've already formed your higher self. Already formed your double tetrahedron. Now we're going to utilize that double tetrahedron as a vehicle, as a tool. You visualize yourself going up to the tetrahedron, walking into the tetrahedron, standing in the tetrahedron, putting your feet on the bottom parts of the first floor, so to speak. But you're in the middle. You're the double tetrahedron, and your arms are at the top part of the double pyramid, and your feet are in the bottom. And your waist would be in the middle where the two pyramids connect, right? And you allow yourself to move it, visualize it, moving it, this left, right, and you're allowing yourself to move the tetrahedron. And as you move it, you're visualizing it rocking to the left and to the right, just kind of getting comfortable with it, feeling it, feeling your higher self, yourself, your soul, that created this tetrahedron, that you're inside, this is your vehicle. So as you're sensing it and feeling it, then when you get the right feeling, do you want to go left, do you want to go right, you start spinning in that direction. And you allow yourself to spin. Go slowly at first, and then allow yourself to spin, go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. Till you feel yourself, just allow yourself feel it, and you're spinning just in a whirl. It's just like the tetrahedron spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning, and just let yourself spin with it. Feel it. Get that feeling of what it feels like to spin with it, and slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, and then stop. And kind of play with that. Get into that feeling and resonate that. Now what that does is that changes the brain chemistry of your mind, of your brains, excuse me. It, the way we normally think, we think in linear terms in general, but our world's a spiral, right? It's a spiral as you see above the yin-yang symbol. It's also spiraling as it's same or the opposite of each. The bigger the front, the bigger the back, the yin, the yang, the positive, the negative, but you're blending all that together. You're blending all those frequencies of the paradox together. You're blending it together, and as you're whirring it and you're spinning it, it's all moving together and meshing together, and you're in the vortex of that frequency, which changes the way we think, way our brain works, which can produce chemicals that we normally can't produce in the way we normally think. But when we're doing that, we're changing the brain chemistry in the body, and the body can produce chemicals used for healing. You can use them for opening up new ways of thinking, ideas, creativity. It also new physical experiences, physical sensations you never felt before. So as you're spinning it, and you're spinning it, and you're spinning it, and you slow it down, and then stop, and then you can step out of it. And just breathe and be with that feeling, see what that feels like. And then you get back into the tetrahedron when you're ready, and you start spinning it again, spinning it, only this time you're going so fast. You feel yourself spinning so fast. So you can always ask your higher self and your soul to work with you to help you keep it in a constant spin. And as you're spinning it faster and faster and faster, now all of a sudden as it's spinning clockwise or counterclockwise, whether it feels right, all of a sudden it spins so fast it starts spinning this way simultaneously as it's going clockwise, counterclockwise, it's spinning this way. Now it's going from top to bottom simultaneously. And people know that as the Merkaba, right? But this is your vehicle. This came from your creation, where you created that tetrahedron. You created that double tetrahedron. You created that vehicle, and that was created by your higher self, yourself, and soul. So that creation is like a divine geometric form. It wasn't just there. You actually co-created that. That's your vehicle. It's not something that was created and you stepped into it. It's your frequency, your vehicle, your higher self, yourself, and your connection to the soul. Now you have a vehicle, and that vehicle, as you're spinning it clockwise or counterclockwise, but as you're spinning it and it's going from top to bottom, now you can direct that vehicle consciously in your mind, with your thought and your intention. You can direct that vehicle, and you can teleport. And you can, but first we'll eventually be teleporting physically, but first we teleport emotionally, we teleport psychically, we teleport mentally, and we can teleport spiritually. So by allowing yourself to do that spin, and you're now in a suspended state in the Merkaba that you created, it's no longer, you've created a doorway, you've created a portal. And that portal, that frequency portal, okay, now we're going to be working with crystals. So that frequency, that portal, when you're working with crystals, or you have your crystal, the crystal's going to record that and amplify that experience. And it's going to remember that frequency. And as you hold the crystal, work with the crystal will remind you what that feels like, right? If you wear a crystal and you keep the crystal on you, the crystal will record that and remember what that feels like, especially if you program the crystal to hold that information through your intention, through your working with the crystal, feeling the crystal, and asking the crystal to record that. It will hold that resonance and frequency. When you sense that, you use your imagination, and your imagination taps into the frequency of, through your intention, the liminal. Ask what it's like. What's it like to be in the liminal? What's it feel like to be in the liminal? How do I know when I'm in the liminal? And your higher self knows. Your higher self knows, your soul knows, and your true sovereign being, who you are, who you truly are, knows too. And when you're there, you know it, you feel it, you understand it. When you're living in the liminal, the experience and the feeling that you get can't be described. You can't describe it. It's a feeling of freedom that you can't feel any other way. When you feel that sense of freedom and you understand that you're there, now what do you do with it? You know, well, how do I utilize this? How do I, well, you can use it personally. You can see things in your life where there's limitations or boundaries, there's things that are need to be manifested or eliminated. And what I mean by eliminated, dissolved, things you don't want, things that you want to process. And one of the ways to accelerate your process is when you do the work with the double tetrahedron, you can throw in those emotions. You can throw in those things that you want to process, and you accelerate that process through the resonance and the frequency of the double tetrahedron itself. It's like a washing machine, right? You're throwing it in and you're processing it through frequency and resonance and vibration. And you come out the other side of that knowing that you processed it, knowing that it's not something that you have to go through on a linear way to figure out and understand. Now you've processed it, and you're the vortex of that process, which accelerates your vibration, your physical vibration. All the cells in your body are accelerating. They're accelerating. They're speeding up. they're becoming less and less physical. You are physical, but your vibration is vibrating into the less and less physical realm. You're now, and through your intention and your focus, you can heal. You can understand that you see your body more as a vehicle too. You're not your body. Your body is your vehicle, is your way to express yourself in the physical. Also, by doing the double tetrahedron work and spinning in, and you can also pop outside of space and time, where you're outside of space and time, and you can allow things to occur within space and time much faster, because you're not in there interfering with slowing it down. So things can process much faster in the physical world for you too. When you step outside, allow things to shift and change, and then when you step back in, you step back into the double tetrahedron, which is your vehicle, which is your body, which is your connection to the physical, and now you allow yourself to land, so to speak, where you slow it down, 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 where it's no longer going from top to bottom and bottom to top. It's now going back into the double tetrahedron, and it stops, and you step out, and now you're in the space that you created from the liminal. It's difficult to really explain. It takes more of the experience of practicing the double tetrahedron work, which allows that to occur. Our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, our choices and decisions in life are what our raw materials are. Our desires, our expectations, our imaginations are our tools. We all have the same raw materials, all have the same tools. When we change our beliefs, it changes our thoughts. When we change our thoughts, it changes our feelings. It changes our feelings, it changes our choices and decisions, and any of those things that we changes the other, right? And our desire, our expectation, and imagination, what gives us are the tools that we use to create what it is we want to create based on our beliefs, our thoughts, our choices and feelings. When we combine our beliefs, our thoughts, our choices, our feelings, and our choices, and we combine that with our desires, expectations, and imaginations that come from our higher self, and our soul, your higher self's beliefs and thoughts and feelings, your soul's beliefs, thoughts and feelings and choices, and yourself's higher, and you're combining those together, and the desire, expectations of your higher self, the desire, expectations of your soul, and your desires, expectations, and imagination, desire, expectation, imagination of your higher self and self, your desire, expectations of your soul, higher self and self. And when you're blending the higher self's imagination, desire, expectations, and the beliefs, thoughts, feelings, choices, and decisions of all three of you, you're creating and allowing things to occur in your body, your resonance frequency of your physical body and your physical reality, to align with your higher self and soul. And your alignment changes your reality. It is designed by your higher self and soul. It's not just by yourself and your and your own desire, expectation, imagination of yourself, and beliefs, thoughts, feelings, choices, and decisions of yourself. It's a co-creation, it's a synergy of your higher self, self and soul, and self, and it creates a synergy, and the synergy is the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, which creates a whole new frequency, a whole new energy, which opens up to a whole new world. We still have our own involvement in that and our participation in that, and in this case, we're going to work with crystals. Okay. That's a lot of words, but it's also a feeling that you will feel, and the crystals, as what's happening now, as I'm talking about, the crystals are recording that frequency. They're recording that energy. They're recording that resonance, and the crystals are sending out a feeling based on what I've asked them to do by asking permission with the crystals. The crystals record and amplify that frequency and resonance of the experience that I'm having, or the experience that you're having. So as the crystals resonate that frequency, if you ask your higher self and to pick that up, to record that, or to integrate that into your life, into your frequency, into your resonance, the body and the mind and the soul and the being and every part of you that's all being blended together will open that doorway when you ask it to be open. It may come in your dreams. It may come in a meditation. It may come in just the moment that you have a sense or a feeling of what that is, and knowing that when you're feeling it and you're with somebody else that's feeling it, you know that that is a feeling of being in the liminal. The liminal, which is between all things. It's between all subatomic particles, atomic particles, atoms. All of that is all the space between all form, the space between everything, and the doorway that allows you to you know that everything's going to be okay. You know that everything's going to be all right. You know that there's not going to be anything that can stop the expansion of who and what you are. And we're always expanding. We're always expanding. And we're expanding eternally. That never ends. That eternal expansion is never stop, other than the brakes that we put on ourselves to stop it. Working with a crystal will help you to tune in to, for instance, you can choose a crystal to be your liminal crystal. That crystal's one that just records and amplifies that feeling of being in the liminal. When we have something that we want to transcend, or we want to change in ourselves, in the world, we can tune into that crystal, allow ourselves to work with that crystal, and open the doorway to doing personal work, local work, global work, universal work, things that open up our inner magician, open up our inner abilities that we can't describe, but we can participate in the co-creation of our higher self and soul.